Hit it too hard.
Just a little bit, but that's okay. We are here. We don't like to say the word Monday, but boys and girls, look who we've got with us tonight. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Jeremy Leary, the best hair in wrestling. Jeremy Leary himself. What's up, my man?
Till it got shaved off.
Hey, I remember that gig. Those little things stick with me. Thank you for coming on. Basically, Stirring the Pot. We like to invite our friends, the talent, have them come on the show. And this isn't my show. I have my stupid name on there, but this is for the fans. So we get to know our local talent, and we get to dive in a little bit. We could pull the curtain back if you allow us to, and we just like to have some fun, my man.
All right.
Awesome. Well, the first thing I do want to start off with, because you offered such a gracious present to me over at the Don't Spill the Whiskey. I want to start off with a little promotion here, because don't you have something that you actually brew yourself, my man?
Oh yeah, my 9 to 5. I'm the assistant brewer at a 2 weeks notice brewery in West Springfield, Massachusetts.
All right.
Yeah, it's weird. Growing up, I knew if I was willing to eat shit long enough, basically, that eventually I'd be able to make my living from my two favorite things in the world besides my fiance, and that's beer and wrestling. So here we are. The long road, but here we are.
Now you did gift me something beautiful, but I'm really not a drinker, and I felt so bad to give it back, but I didn't want to waste it. Could you please describe what you were trying to gift me at Don't Spill the Whiskey? Do you remember? You had a beautiful.
Was it? Do you remember what the can art looked like?
I'm not that bright.
It was. I'm pretty sure at Don't Spill the Whiskey, I had West Side Big Slide, which is like our number one. It's our flagship. It's a New England style IPA, so it's It's hot. I'm gonna nerd out. Well, I won't bore everybody too long with this, but it's hopped with a bunch of like Citra and Vic Secret, and what those hops do is give it like big notes of like pineapple, melon juiciness. It's a real hazy boy IPA. They're all the rage right now, but you know what? We love them. So
nice. I noticed about Mr. Leary, but I wanted to give a little promotion about that because it was sticking in my head because I felt like a jackass that I did not receive your beautiful present, and I do apologize.
Dude, it's all right. It's like if you were to pass me one of your bones, man, I can't do it in public because I'll just I'll curl up in a corner and think of every bad decision I've ever made my whole life.
It's funny you say that because I do have some friends that don't partake, if you will, and they'll be like, "Bro, you just don't want to see that." I go, "Okay, all right, no problem. We all have our little poisons, it is what it is."
I dabbled a little bit, but I'll tell you, for somebody who listens to as much reggae as I personally do, I don't indulge very much.
Well, again, it's a pleasure to have you on SCP. We love talking to the talent, getting to know them a little bit. I have known you for probably about, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. We're running about there around. And I've seen you go through a couple things. Your beautiful presence doesn't change any, but but I have seen you go through some stuff, and I kind of want to start in an odd place, if you will. But I remember seeing you the first time I saw you was in a faction, if you will, the East Coast Bastard Crew, if you will. Could you please talk to us about that before we kind of run into who Jeremy Leary is, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get really raw with you. I mean, first iteration of that was me and Logan Black, obviously, and that piece of human garbage that is Rude Boy Riley, and may he rot in piss for everything he did. And but I mean, when that started, it was three punk rock kids who were wrestlers, and I met them at what was it called, Paragon? Do you remember Paragon?
I do remember Paragon. Yes, sir. That sounds correct.
The one that's around now, the one that was Mikey Chase ran it, and them there, and And so when Riley's true colors were shown, we myself and Logan Black, we didn't want to let it die. We thought we had something cool and genuine. So the next best thing was we welcomed Skylar into the group. I mean, I know I'm with her, but yeah, so we welcomed her in, and we ran rampant. Mostly that iteration is mostly PvP in Blitzkrieg, and a couple other places here and there. I mean, to Warp Tour, we did a trios match, but yeah, that it was a lot of fun, and Logan Black is still one of my best friends, and I was lucky to go to his wedding, and yeah.
Thank you for all of that from the beginning to where it was, because
I always feel like it's weird not to acknowledge that stuff. Everybody knows about it, like
yes,
like I don't know. Obviously, if we had any clue whatsoever what kind of shit that dude was doing, he never would have stepped foot in any Blitzkrieg's building, anywhere that any of us were, and without getting punched at the very least. So it is what it is. It is there. I know it's a weird thing to talk about, and it's still uncomfortable, but we gotta grow from it and keep weeding out those kind of people, because unfortunately, every month or two, there's another one you're finding out about. So,
and we like to talk evolution, so that kind of shows the evolution of where it went and such. And I appreciate you speaking openly about that, because we like fans alike with the wrestlers themselves. We like that back room, the locker room, if you will. We like that clean and free of the riffraff, if you will, that crazy end of wrestling. And you are so correct. They've been coming out, and it's been a while. All of this stuff. I mean, they do come out one by one, and you follow it, you keep up with it. You hope it doesn't come back up around, and here we are, like another month or two, and I don't know. It is part of life, and I get that. But we do like our locker rooms, if you will. We don't like the bullshit back there.
Well, exactly, and I'll tell you on behalf of, like, as far as Blitzkrieg goes, what I love, it's one of the most important things to me with Blitzkrieg, and I love it so much, is and maybe I'm being a little bit naive about it, but I feel like we're all friends back there, in such a cutthroat business. Like, we have our core crew, and the new people that come in that become part of our regulars, if they don't vibe with us, like, as people, as good humans, and they're not glad to be there, they just won't be back, because it's that important, especially after all the terrible things we end up seeing with wrestling. So it's very important. And there's some people that are unbelievably talented wrestlers, but if they're kind of shitheads, like, let the other places take them. We don't need that. We got a good vibe in our backstage, and it's so very important to me.
I absolutely love what you just said, because I felt that from the first time I did see Blitzkrieg. And I saw Blitzkrieg, I want to almost say it was the very first show when it went from UVT to Blitzkrieg Pro. And we're going to definitely talk about that.
Sure.
And I know, again, this is about learning who Jeremy Leary is as a talent and such, but I really want to dive into this, because I've wanted to talk to you about this for a while, because it's got to be a hell of a juggle to not only be a wrestler and do the drives and all of that stuff, and keep your body and your mental status going, but to be an active wrestler and a promoter. Got to give you, I got my hat off to you, my friend. I don't know how the fuck you do that. You must run around like a wild man constantly. That's all I got to say, constantly. So again, my hat's off to you. And what we're speaking of, boys and girls, Jeremy Leary is an active wrestler all through, since I've known him, obviously previously, but he also runs some Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling. We have some fun over there. And again, I want to say, now I went to the first time that I saw Blitzkrieg. It was at an Italian festival up in Enfield, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was just me and my pop. There was nobody else there, literally not yet. I mean, I got there so damn early. And me and my pop were just chilling on the chairs. You guys were just doing your thing, whatever. The crowd wasn't even there by that time yet. And you sat down and you were jotting down, what it looked like was the card. And I look over and I go, I think I know this guy. I'm saying to myself, wait, he's a fucking wrestler. And then I see you're doing like the promotion stuff. I'm like, wait. And then I just started chit-chatting with you. And that was probably my first real interaction with Jeremy Leary. Do you remember that at all?
Was that, so I believe that was like before our first like official show too. Like,
yeah, and that was when Tom, and I want to say this is correct, but it could have been the show where it was Tommy End and
that
Brian.
one.
Oh no, never mind. That was the second one I went to. That was outside again. It was the one before that outside where they were doing the pole contest, the grease pole contest.
Yeah, at the festival there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it as short as I can, but I'll give you the history of how that all went about and what have you. Eric Newton was a good friend of mine who was the owner and promoter at NEFW and then RPW. And I mean, I started off as a talent there, and I had to claw my way in, and I ended up becoming very good friends with him. Usually spoke to him on the phone every day, if not every other. And we had a really good relationship. Tim Jensen, who plays the role of our commissioner and is a great human being as well, he was in touch with us from when we went to Whirly Ball in Enfield with RPW. He had reached out to Eric about like doing these shows at the Italian Club. They had shown some interest, or not the Italian Club, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And Eric had a lot going on already. I think there was more health things than clearly he was letting on. So I jumped in, and initially my idea was to do kind of like what Wrestle Jam did and do like 2, maybe 3 shows a year. And do them there. I had a place, why not, and just to let my like vision come to life. And I swear to God, this is like poetic, but I promise you, I'm not making it up. So I thought about it, talked to Tim, got the logistics, and literally the day Eric went into the hospital, I had spoken to him and just briefly, and his wife was yelling at him, "Get off the phone, we gotta go," because they were going to the hospital for a procedure. And I was like, all right, I just want to make sure, I got your blessing, Eric. And I shit you not, I promise on anything. The last words he said to me before goodbye were I've always got your back, brother. Do it up and I'll help you. And so I, did. And then the next day Eric passed in the hospital, and none of us saw it coming. Like, he didn't go to the ER or anything. He was going for like a smaller routine. That's what I'm led to believe anyways. And when he passed, things kind of got messy with RPW, and I already had this date on the books and it was months away. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to see how it goes and just let's do this. Let's make this a regular thing and try to fill in the, I don't know if void is the right word, but you know what I'm trying to say. Try to give these people, something else to come see if they're not happy, like I'm not happy with what was happening to RPW. And sure enough, so when we got a date with Our Lady of Mount Carmel for our first actual show, they said, we'd like you to come to the Italian festival and put on a little exhibition and just get some hype up for the show. And so we did, and that's where I saw you. That was before like our first official show. That was just like a hype thing, and that was the beginning of August. And the end of August was our first shows. It was August 29th, 2015, and the main event was EC3 versus who was then known as CJ Parker, who is now what's his name?
Juice Rock. Yeah, Juice Robinson.
Amongst other really cool things that happened, and been off and running ever since. So I hope that wasn't too long.
No, not at all, because I've always been curious. I mean, I've asked questions about the UVT and Blitzkrieg thing. So what was with the transition, and why did it start as UVT and then do a transition of Blitzkrieg? If that's okay, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. It's not a very it's not a very crazy story. It started as UVT because of a song called Us Versus Them by Sick of It All. And I always wanted to incorporate punk rock into what we were doing. Basically, we got a cease and desist from a clothing company called Us Versus Them. Yeah. They were like a garage company or something, fix cars or whatever. So we got a cease and desist like right away, which I thought was insane because we had like 2 real shows under our belt and somehow they found out about us. So crazy. So we brainstormed a little bit, my partner at the time, and we're like, fun names. We wanted outside the box. It was never going to be like extreme, extreme body slim. I don't know. It wasn't going to be one of those regular ass names. It needed to have a flair to it. So we went with Blitzkrieg as a tribute to both WCW Blitzkrieg and, of course, the Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, one of the most famous punk rock songs in the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to the show that I remember, and then I'm not sure which in timeline is your history for the shows in chronological order, but for me personally as a fan, the first 2 shows that I went were both outside at the Italian Festival. And the first one I want to talk about, for one specific reason, it was hot as balls out there. Like you said, it was August.
Yeah.
But my friend, that setup you guys had for the locker room, if you will, boys and girls, I felt so bad for these guys and women over there because it was so hot.
Yeah.
And it was a tractor trailer, okay? And they had a tarp set up where it came outside, like a little tunnel kind of thing, coming down out of the tractor trailer. But I'm saying to my dad, I'm like, them poor bastards going into that truck. Holy cow. That must have been something, huh?
Sleight of hand. Yeah. You know what? That was actually like, they built a stage for that. We were actually inside in the air conditioning. That's just where we made our entrance from. So.
Okay. All right. I felt so bad because it was so damn hot.
It sounded a lot more hardened if we say we were just in that 90-degree tractor trailers. Let's go with that.
All right. I'll take that. Yeah, good times though. And it brought me back to want to see another one. And now I'm going to go up to the next one that I saw. And it was moved over more from that right side of the area, if you will, more into the center of where the vendors and stuff was. And
I'm messing up. Sorry, we were in that tractor trailer for that one, legitimately.
Okay.
Legitimately, that is where we changed. You're talking about the feast or whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we were in that tractor trailer, and it did suck.
Dude, I can't even imagine it. And I still walk away and I talk about that to people about one of the first shows I've seen and blah, blah, blah. I always bring that up. It was just mind boggling how you could perform in that climate. It was just amazing. And again, that's why boys and girls, that's why my respect as a fan probably goes a little further than some. I'm not whatever you call a smart mark or whatever the fuck that's supposed to be or any shit like that. I like to go to the shows. I like to go to the shows and lift up our talents and just have a lot of fun. But I take in a lot from a perspective as a fan too. And that kind of stuff, though, when you're dealing with the climate being very hot and humid, August, and you're using a tractor trailer as a setup, and you're doing it on the fly because hey, you got to do something. And I applaud you for doing a makeshift locker room, if you will.
Yeah.
But my point being is coming out of that tractor trailer and even just being outside in general is just so awful. To perform in that damn ring on that day, that's my point. Is I just give you guys and girls so much effing credit. I don't know how you do it, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, hang on a second.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, I mean, I'm not an athlete, so I mean, I wouldn't even know what it takes to do anything like that personally. And these guys and girls, they go through they put their brains and their bodies through a lot of crazy shit to perform for us. Yes, for us. So that's why I've always tried to be as respectful as I can on the other side of that barricade or guardrail or velvet rope, however you want to see it. And even if it's not there, there's still an invisible line that you should not cross. And it gets brought up, I see on the book and on the Twitter and stuff, kind of a little more often than I would like to see it as of late. And I'll just give you an instance about the wrestlers being touched by fans still going on, still very relevant. And there's still wrestlers out there trying to put their posts up and say, listen, guys, cut the shit, man. We're there doing a job. We're there doing a performance. We're there for you. Why do you keep fucking with us? And I know we went in a weird direction right there,
All right.
but that's what I see as a fan. I mean, I can't even imagine the shit you guys and girls go through out there.
You know, and sure, yes, absolutely. And you know, I've seen some real weird shit, but you know, my fiance, Skylar, holy shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of the most absurd shit you'll ever hear. Like, in what fucking world do you think it's all right to reach out to a stranger and say or ask these sort of things? Like, it's part of the problem with the internet, because you can't fucking smack them right in the face, because some of them deserve it. But
there are so many pros and cons when it comes to technology and wrestling.
yes,
Obviously, it's broadened the reach. That's very evident. And the accessibility and being able to promote yourself and being able to exchange media, being footage or pictures or what your entrance music, whatever it may be, so much more accessible. But so aren't the fans
yeah,
to the wrestlers with what you just stated. And that's a big con because, yes, I love when you guys and girls interact with us. I think that portion of it outside of the ring is almost very important to continue that to a degree though. And it doesn't have to be always, and it doesn't have to be constant, stuff like that. But I see it left and right, my friend. Guys,
right,
very much so, guys, more so than girls, just are absolute fucking lunatics out there. And from fans on my end, where we have a lot of fun and we don't do that kind of shit, I apologize for all the jackass fans out there. I really do.
Realistically, we, those of us who kind of stick with it in any capacity, will weirdly take that with a smile, as long as it means we get to still be involved with it. So, which is such a blessing and a curse, because let me tell you, Don, I love my life. I'm, engaged to the girl of my dreams. I'm making beer 9 to 5. I run this company, but I'm happy with my life. And the only thing that really fucks with me and like makes me sad and like doubt myself and gets me depressed sometimes is being in pro wrestling. So, but it's that weird thing. You can't get away from it. Once you're in and you love it and you feel it, it's so hard to get away from. But
I want to touch upon the next show real quick, and then I want to get back to what we're talking about right here, because I forget a lot of shit and I never write anything down. That's the way I do this.
That's all right. I love it. I love that.
The next one that we saw, again, it was Tommy End on his farewell tour. He was getting picked up by NXT. And we had Brian Fury. He was on his farewell tour because he was stepping away from his active career. So they only had a few more months to their respective farewell tours, and they were doing it at Blitzkrieg, and I felt that shit in my heart. That was some great stuff over there. It was outside. It was fan-fucking-tastic. I love that.
Beautiful night, yeah.
It was, man. And there's one thing in specific, again, that's very memorable, and that was obviously the main event, but something else very memorable, well, two things, actually. The drone you guys, I always look this up and show people all the time. The drone that you guys did, and we were all around just jamming on the mat doing our thing, that little intro, if you will. I love that fucking thing, and I always look it up all the time just to give me a memory, if you will.
That was cool.
And the second, go ahead.
No.
And the second thing is you have Gangrel there, and it was right pre-intermission because you had it set up to where he did his match, and then intermission came, and he got a bunch of people going in there doing the old autographs and everything, and that was great. That was a really cool setup. But when Gangrel came down, I haven't seen that guy in flipping years, and we were talking about him and Anthony Green were in that company. Alex Chambers was a champion. It was out in Vegas.
Talking about, but I don't remember.
Paradigm or something like that, or yeah. Anthony Green, he was an upcoming guy, and Gangrel, he was kind of returning, if you will. He was a main guy over there. Alex Chamberlain was their champion, and that's how I kind of got reconnected, to be honest with you, with Gangrel. And I never knew who the fuck Anthony Green was until I seen him on the show. And then when I started seeing him at the PvPs and such, I'm like, I was fucking mind blown. But anywho, the Gangrel thing, he comes out with his goblet. He looked so Gangrelish. He got in the ring. He came over to the corner. Now, the entranceway comes down. And then me and my pop are on this corner. My pop being first, then me, and then a couple, a guy and a girl. We've never met before, but you know how I chit-chat. I made friends real quick. And Gangrel came up into the corner. He took a sip of that goblet, and he spit blood all over us. And a few things happened. And I'm going to go in chronological order. My old man takes his hat. He always wears a baseball cap. He takes his cap off. He looks at it all full of blood. He goes, I just watched this fucking thing last night. I was dying. I'm over here going, this is fucking awesome. The girl next to me, she's got these beautiful white pants on, and they have these blue stripes going down them. They were spattered with blood. And to the left of her was her boyfriend. She's like, Gangrel spit all over my pants. That's fucking awesome. Her boyfriend's like, yeah. While my old man was just so grumpy because he got blood all over his goddamn hat. It was awesome. And boys and girls, we talk memories. That will always stick with me forever. And I thank you for that memory.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing though, right? And I mean, first of all, Gangrel, like Fountain of Youth, man, the dude still looks amazing. I'd love that. I don't know that it's in the cards, but you know, we've written multiple times, but yeah, that's what it's all about, man. I mean, I you know, tell me a single move they did in that match.
I
you know?
I don't. No, I don't. But I why are you gonna do that to me?
People love moves and appreciate moves, and it's great. But that moment, man, that's like, and it's like when you go back and think about your favorite memories as a wrestling fan, dude, like, you know, it's never going to be like, oh, they did this one exchange high spot. Sometimes it's moves, but it's something about the move and the meaning of it. And that's what sticks in your brain. Like, you know, it's, you know, Shane McMahon jumping off a Hell in a Cell. It's a moment, man. Like, that's what it's all about. And then, like, and honestly, not blowing smoke at all. It's so freaking cool to me to be able to know that something I set up has given people those moments at all in any capacity. That's absolutely amazing to me, and I love to hear it so much.
And that's why we love wrestling. It's so damn universal, my friend. You could be black, you could be white, you could be short, fat, tall, skinny. You could be, you know, you could be so many different things in this world. We all love wrestling. It's amazing.
Yeah, just to expand on that, you know, like, that's why I don't understand why some people in wrestling can be such like assholes, because man, we're all there because we love pro wrestling. We are the fucking island of misfit toys, and we all found each other, whether you grew up a punk rocker like myself, or you grew up into hip hop, or you grew up loving anime and Dungeons and Dragons like there's a ton of. It's such a melting pot, dude. Even the jocks that end up loving it, and like, we're all at an equal thing with it because we love this totally weird fucking thing. But here we are.
I name every episode differently to give them their own flavor, and I think I might name this one what you just reiterated. It's just so wild and fucking crazy. This whole fucking crazy world of wrestling. Maybe that's what we'll entitle it. That could be it too. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But those are the things that we talk about on the show. An awful lot are the memories that we take away when we're driving home. Me and my dad leaving that show. That was one of the very first things. I'm fucking laughing at him. I'm like, dude, we all got spit on with blood, and you were all sorts of pissed off. And I was pointing and laughing, but these are the things that we take away. But on the flip side, my man, you guys and girls as performers, as athletes, as wrestlers, you walk away with different kind of memories. Maybe some are similar, but you also walk away with memories from each event, if you will, doing those drives home and such. And you guys got to do the same kind of chatter,
Oh yeah, it's as big of a part of things as anything else. You, you can't spend multiple 6-hour drives each way with people and not know them and form a bond with them, and so yeah, absolutely. It's just as big of a part of it.
I kind of almost like to, when I come to the tail end, I usually kind of do two things: is story time and give us your info on the old medias. But since we're on the topic of being on the road, hopefully, and we're going to see your face when I ask this question, is there any story that you can maybe tell us, because you're on the road a lot? Is there any fun, cool, little quirky road story that you could share with the fans? It could be semi-legal. It could be crazy. It could be normal. It could be whatever you want.
Yeah, let me think of a good one. Here's a funny one. With Chikara in Chicago, our whole motley, Chikara is the weird and wackiest. For everything that might have happened with Mike, it was the best shows, the best storytelling, the best fans, and I have so many friends from there that I absolutely adore. Chicago, where it's after the show, and to this day, my favorite venue I've ever wrestled in is Logan Square Auditorium out there. And poor Skylar, she's been to Chicago a couple times now with Shimmer, but never win the run in Logan, and I just need her to feel that so much. But it's after the show, and we're going back to the hotels and what have you. In the lobby at one of these hotels, it's a furry convention.
Oh god!
So these people dress up in like mascot outfits, and I don't know if they like banging them, or just hang out in them. I like whatever, dude. So so we're already like laughing our asses off, and we're with a fella who goes by Space Monkey, and he's just like, oh, grabs his mask out of his backpack, goes right in, fits right in. And it was so funny. Like I remember Mike Verna being there. So like, just picture in a furry convention, Mike Verna walking alongside Space Monkey at a furry convention in Chicago. So that's one really good one. I think
that
legal.
Thank you for the story, and I can envision everything as you were taking us on that ride. Thank you for that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely. And probably 8 or 9, maybe 9.5 times out of 10, they're probably banging each other at those furry conventions.
Yeah,
hey, whatever you got to do to keep it alive. Hey, it is what it is.
I know. Far be it from me. We get fake beat each other, and you want to dress like a furry. I don't do your thing, man.
We've been talking so many topics in this first half hour of our fine conversation, but we haven't concentrated on the Jeremy Leary thing here, because we've gone all over the place. So I kind of want to jump to, and I don't like to do the old general questions, but you kind of got to get there you got to get there somehow.
Yeah.
What made Jeremy Leary want to get into wrestling? Because me personally, as a fan, it was me with my pop hanging out doing the TV thing, but I really remember going to a live event. That's what really captured me and wanted me to be a fan of wrestling. what grabbed you as a fan and then elevated to a wrestler?
I just remember flipping through TV when I was real little and stumbling upon Superstars on a Saturday morning and just being like, "Oh, what in the hell is this? This is amazing!" Because like my shit was always like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. So like these people in outlandish costumes, fighting and whatever, and like clear good guy, bad guy, hero, villain. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." Um, I don't know. I know I watched wrestling before this, but I have this like one distinct memory of one Superstars, and it wasn't the first one I ever saw. I know that, but I remember it was Marty Jannetty versus Owen Hart on Superstars, and I just really clearly remember that one for some reason, and I just was enamored by it. And at that time, video stores were still a thing, and I just went, and this is a story that you hear so much, which is crazy, but you just went, and every weekend I went and grabbed one or two of the wrestling, and they were in no sort of order whatsoever. I did not care. I watched all 3 hours of whatever pay-per-view, sometimes twice, and just got so enamored by the people and the sights and sounds and everything. It's a rock and roll show meets theater art, really. And it was so cool, and I never grew out of it. Luckily, when I was an early teenager is when the Attitude Era was happening, so it was actually cool for a little bit to like. But then it stopped being cool. But it didn't matter to my friends and I. I remember when I did fall out of it was the couple year period where I did kind of drift away was right after like the Invasion Angle stuff, because that was such a big disappointment as a fan, and so I missed like that right after that in like 2003 and 4. Um, an old girlfriend just knew I used to love wrestling and bought tickets for like my birthday or Christmas or something. So it was like, oh, I guess I better tune back in. So I started tuning back in 2 or 3 weeks before Eddie Guerrero passed. And then when Eddie passed, it was like, the wrestling fanatic lover inside of me was like, I was too busy being a cool guy and trying to fit an image in like high school or whatever that I missed like his championship win, and like I missed so much stuff, and now he's gone, and I'm like, nope, fuck that, never again. I'm back in fully. So that's how it happened.
That's quite interesting because I was about to take myself a hiatus at the end of this past August.
Remember?
And then Big Jim passed.
Yeah.
And that, for me personally, that changed everything. Yeah. Our friend Big Jim.
Absolutely.
For me personally, that changed everything. And I know I wasn't around as long as you guys have been coming up in your careers as a fan. But I knew him. Yeah. I mean, we became friends and we had some love and all of that stuff. And my thought process was just like yours. If I don't go to the shows anymore for like the next 6 months, like I wanted to like almost cleanse a little bit.
Yeah.
And if I don't go to these shows, what if one of my friends that I've made relationships with over the course of the past 5-6 years with all of you guys and girls, what if something happens and
Yeah.
I'm not there? And like, that's what kind of ran through my head. And I go, well, you got to shoot or get off the pot. It's either fucking go or just step back and.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because. Dale.
I apologize. I had a phone call coming in.
It's all right,
bro. But Big Jim was in my heart, and I couldn't stop. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. It's a hard balance because sometimes you do need to step away a little and do what's best for you. And of all people, I think somebody like Jim would have understood that. But it's almost nice that I think Jim would be happy to know out of such a tragedy, like him leaving us way too early, that at least like a friend of his like you were able to come to that realization and keep being around and being where you love to be and helping all the people that you help. So it's tough, but yeah, I think he'd be happy to know that that you were still around. You know, you sometimes you have to reach down and grab those positives out of such a fucking terrible situation.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing him like we do, I think he'd be you know, you have to believe he'd be happy about that.
I think so, because there's times where I recorded his last match. I actually did a promo outside with him before the main event, after he put Dustin Waller through a table, and I got a promo. So I recorded his last match and I recorded his last promo, and I've watched those things over and over and over, and I've cried more than once. But then I feel, when I see Flash Waller specifically, because of where his last match was and what,
Yeah, sure.
when I see Flash Waller, I just feel Jim every single damn time, my man. It's so weird, that correlation with Dustin Waller being so damn young in his career right now. It's just uncanny what he's doing in such a short time. But I do associate Big Jim with Dustin Waller, but a lot of the other guys and stuff, but for him specifically because of that setting. And I didn't mean to get on that subject or, bring anything down, but love me some Big Jim.
You know, it's another one of those things that might not be the funnest to talk about, but sometimes it's really good to talk about that stuff, and I'd rather still be talking about rather than not.
Yes, absolutely.
Jim only worked for Blitzkrieg, I want to say 2 or 3 times. But Jim and I both punk rock kids, so we like always had that bond. And like, I remember when he played interspecies wrestling with Two Fisted Law, like climbing into the ring, climbing up to him to grab the mic from him during a Misfits song they were covering. And so it was always like, there's that, unspoken thing. He showed up, he bought tickets. That motherfucker bought tickets to the Blitzkrieg Luau. Dude, and that's like, but it speaks like what a dude he was. Like, that dude was so, like, everybody's a saint when they pass. I understand that, but legit, that dude was so goddamn supportive. Like, he knows he could have messaged me and been like, yeah, man, of course, come show up. But he wanted to buy the ticket. He bought the ticket. He showed up, and that was my last run-in with him, unfortunately. But he complimented me through messages after, and I just thanked him so much. But yeah, it's still kind of not real, and I don't know. But what an actually supportive dude. Not just because he's gone, but because that's what it was.
And it's funny you bring that up, because I was at the far end of the room where the entrance was, and I saw Jim standing over there, and I looked over at my pop, and I go, I got to go say hi to Jim. And I walked right over there, right across the room. I gave him a hug. We chit-chat for a couple minutes, and then I went and sat down. But that's the kind of guy he was, though. I mean, he could eat me for breakfast, like, just like that. But the guy was so cool to me, always. Yeah. He was always cool to me, and I always loved me some Big Jim. And it was cool that I wanted to speak real quick on the Don't Spill the Whiskey. That was 8 mother flipping promotions that came together. There was no bullshit. There was no politics. There was no drama. There was none of that. Some of what comes with wrestling, if you will. There was none of that. It was just a celebration of Jim. And my God, I wish we could do that some more. Mr. Leary, that was amazing. What a great time that was.
It was, yeah. I mean, I was there to try to help raise some funds. Not even wrestling, but just and it was a great night. I just sat back and sipped a couple with with Skyler, with Nick Corey, Kid Curry, whatever he goes by in wrestling. But just got to talk to a couple people that I haven't spoken to in a long time. And yeah, it was great. I want it to happen more as well. And I plan to try to do things to make that sort of thing happen.
We'll have to keep an eye out. Now, I know we were starting on your wrestling career. Now I want to pull a Jenga piece out, because when I saw that you were going up against Sabu recently retiring here, you went against Sabu, and the very first thing I said, I remember where I was when I read it. I was in my pop's basement. We were hanging out, And I looked at him and I go, Jeremy Leary's going to die. And Dad, and Dad goes, what's going on? I go, this fucking loony bin's going against Sabu. What is he doing?
Yeah.
What makes a guy, a performer, an athlete, a wrestler, want to go up against Sabu? Those 4 letters just freaked the shit out of me just saying it. Why would you want to go up against Sabu, my man?
I enjoy testing myself. I enjoy those kind of matches. I there's no point in trying to hide it. I booked myself into that match as and I've done that only a couple of times. The other time was against Scotty Too Hottie, and I will tell you very straight up, should we ever be able to secure Heath Slater, I will absolutely be that guy to book myself against him because he's
wow.
But I enjoy really intense matches. There was a long time where I was trying to do what I thought fit in and like try to do flashy stuff, but and some of it was fine, a lot of it wasn't. But what I'm good at is intensity. That's what I think I'm good at, and so like all of my favorite matches that I can think of, like let's say 4 out of 5 of them are that style of match. Whether I had a great one with Dave Cole at RPW. That was a tables match. I think probably might be my favorite match of all time that I did, and unfortunately is not on video anywhere, which kills me. But was against Jeff Cannonball, and it was closest to a death match that I had ever gotten, and it was oh my god, I loved it. And like I had one with Brian Myers. There's a really cool story about it. But I'll go back to that story. I will. But let me just try this. I like to test myself with that stuff. I'm never going to be, in all the power to them, but I'm never going to be one of the people that just gets in the ring and grabs the light tube and smashes it and then proceeds to do. If that's your thing, cool, man. I love death matches. I love watching it. I just don't want to personally do that. And I have all the respect in the world for the people that do it. The Matt Traymonts, Jeff Cannonballs, the G Ravers, and even Kennedy out there killing it with that shit. Like,
dude, what is she going through? Her mind, she's lost her shit, dude.
Yeah. But no, so I wanted to test myself against somebody who's done it forever, and so Sabu was that guy, and that's. I wish there was more to it. And the other thing is the promoter. Behind the curtain as a promoter, I knew I could sell a lot of tickets to friends and family that wouldn't otherwise be there when I'm like, hey, I'm wrestling Sabu. So, so it was means to it. But let me tell you this Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins story real quick, because I'll get one of my top 3 matches I've ever had. It was an RPW show. It was when I was a champion. We were the main event of about 12 matches. Eric, again, miss him so much. He always was pretty loose with me and trusted me to do whatever. They had seen everything on this show. Like I think like Johnny Gargano was on this show, Mike Mondo, like they'd seen everything. So Brian and I decided, to nobody's knowledge except for the referee, that we were going to get in there and we were going to start wrestling. And he was going to tweak his knee. And he did it. And I even looked over at Eric, everybody. Eric was freaking out, thinking like the main event is ruined. This guy's hurt. And whack, super kick. And we just went into a falls count anywhere match. Nobody knew except the referee. And we went around that building and tested ourselves real hard. And it was amazing. And then the next day, or the day before, I don't know, he got engaged that same weekend. So what a wild weekend. But
there's footage of said match?
Somewhere. Yeah, somewhere.
All right. I'm going to have to get on the old medias and try to find that. I'm interested.
Tyrek? Remember Tyrek?
I do, yeah.
I think he was filming it for us.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a good little tidbit to maybe start with. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about watching your significant other doing the wrestling, because she started off as Hot Scoop Skyler, doing the photography and stuff, from what I'm to remember, because I don't remember her as a photographer.
Yeah.
But I have seen her progress as a performer, as an athlete, broaden her horizons from company to company, doing the Beyond WWR stuff and all of that stuff. What's it like? You're in the business, you're a promoter. Now your girl is starting to do the same thing. And not to take away that, guy or girl thing, but it's from a different perspective now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's how I met her. So it's always been, since the day I met her, it's been a thing. It's amazing. She's amazing. You might wink nudge, see her on MLW really soon. I mean, she did the Ring of Honor. She kills it, and she deserves it. And she's got a natural way about her that she's just meant for wrestling. It's great. I love it. First of all, I would have probably never met her had it not been for wrestling. But second of all, it's just something we always bond over. And, if I was dating anybody else, like outside the business, and like I said before, how bad it can fuck with my head, I could say that to whoever, significant ever ex, and they would never understand. So it's a great thing that we're able to understand and help each other through it. And we have multiple times. And she's amazing. She deserves every bit of success she ever gets. Like, an absolutely amazing wrestler. And then the whole time she's doing it, she's going through an unbelievably hard program to become a dental hygienist at the same time. Like, I don't know. She continues to inspire me every single day. So,
wow. Thank you for sharing that, because watching her evolution up to where she is now, once I started seeing her getting on some of those Beyond shows, I was like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, wow. I was like, you go, Skyler. That's some good shit. And I just feel the love. But when I see the talent get on these different platforms, I can just really feel it. I see it from the peers. I see it from the fans and stuff like that. So, I mean, I kind of knew the answer to the question already, but I just love to hear that support system. And it's got to be such a pro, as you were saying, it's got to be such a pro when your significant other is within the business and you get to really understand, like, you're never going to guess what the fuck happened. And she can really get it because she's a wrestler. So, I mean, that's got to be a very big pro. Now, a question that I do have that I usually ask if their significant other is a wrestler, and I don't know why, it's just curiosity, I guess. Are you guys doing any kind of crazy shit in the living room? Like, you're locking up and throwing each other around? Like, hey, like I need. All right, maybe that answers my question.
Honestly, yeah. You think of stuff like a sequence or whatever, you definitely go slow-mo in the living room and be like, yeah, would this work? Like, what if we tweak this? Like, yeah, of course. And anybody who says otherwise that are a couple in this are full of shit. Like, absolutely.
No, I'd like to talk the evolution about Jeremy Leary, because that's the only name I've known you under. Is that the only name you've used in wrestling?
No, so there was a very short period where I was going through some shit in court, and they didn't want me to wrestle. And everybody's got these cool names, and I'm an idiot and decided to use my real name. Yeah, which is especially fine now that I have a career in making beer and they know all about it. But like, I used to think to myself, I'm gonna sit down for like this big career job one day, and they're gonna Google my name and see my fiance shit out of me on YouTube. Like, but no, there was like a 2-month period until like 2 weeks before I was born. My name was supposed to be Brennick. So should Skylar and I ever have a child that's a boy, we've already agreed that his name will be Brennick. But so there was about a 2-month period, 3 months, where I was going under Brennick O'Brien, just so I can, my lawyer and stuff would be more happy. And he found out I stopped wrestling for about 9 months while everything worked itself out, and then went right back to my regular name. But yeah.
That's an interesting tale.
Yeah, and like how the hell I got into like Chikara and used my regular name when everybody, like,
a character.
Chikara with like a bird mask on, and how I sneak through the cracks is just like Jeremy Leary is like unheard of.
I kind of thought about that for a couple of the talent that found their way in Chikara, because they are, I'm not even going to say 100%. They're like 1,000,000% character driven, storyline driven, very, very written. It seems like it's very like just thought about so much, the way it was all coming together.
Oh, it was.
But I do see though, post, if you will, post Chikara, Blitzkrieg Pro is still getting some of those fine talent that was under the Chikara umbrella. That's got to be cool for you as a promoter, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, in my time there, I made lifelong friends, and like Travis Huckabee and King Crab. Like, yeah. How could I not have that? It'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, so much character, so much everything out of that world of Chikara it was. Now, Blitzkrieg, this is one other question that I've been dying. Whenever you said yes, I had two questions. I wanted to get right into that ECBC thing, and I also wanted to talk about, am I remiss, or are there no more Blitzkrieg Tag Team Championships?
There are. They're a little bit cursed, I will say that. The closers had first. Tunis got hurt, stripped. Then the Batiri got them, and then the shutdown happened. And then at the luau, they were taken by Hollow Wicked and Frightmare. Our September show, Frightmare needed an emergency dental surgery, so he had to drop. And then December, we were supposed to have them again, but Hollow Wicked got COVID a couple months back, and he's like honestly the most cautious out of anybody in the back, and he got it. So he just does not want to take any bookings until after the holiday because he doesn't want to risk not being able to see his real family. So they are still there.
Oh, okay. It's been a hot minute since because I was there when the closers won them at they were the inaugural
Yes.
Blitzkrieg. I was there on that one. That was that was interesting. That was with the and I always forget their names, and I don't know why. I mean, I know as a collective, they did the old massage oil stuff.
Yeah, Massage Envy.
What was their names?
Massage Envy.
Massage Envy.
Yeah. PSK wrestle. Ask him to get the oil.
Right. Get the oil. Yeah. But yeah, man. Because not all companies have traditional belts, and I'm gonna run with that because Blitzkrieg does definitely not have their big belt. Is definitely not no traditional championship.
Very little about Blitzkrieg is traditional.
That is a very valid point. Talk to us, the fans, and describe this championship and what it represents, if you could, please.
Yeah, the Bedlam Champion is it's not meant to be looked at as a world championship, heavyweight championship, mid-card championship. It's just a championship. And 99% of the matches you see that are Bedlam Championship matches are never straight one-on-one. Not never, but mostly almost ever one-on-one. That's kind of faded, and I'm okay with it because it mostly is. For example, this Saturday it's in a 5-person ladder match, and but it's people. One constant with it is it's been people who are growing, and I feel like are starting to skyrocket. And Scotty Wilde was the very first. Then it went on Sasha Jenkins for all of 30 seconds before Tuna stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went on Flex Rumble Crunch. Then it went on Sasha Jenkins. Then it went on Smart Mark Sterling. I'm curious to see now if I can remember all this. Then it went on Smart Mark Sterling. Then it went on Skylar. And then it went on Chris Statlander. And then it went on Bobby Orlando. Then it went on Kirby Wackerman, and now it's back on Bobby Orlando. That's it. That's where we're at.
Oh.
But yeah, people whose stock was always rising. Yeah.
And I notice it doesn't matter gender either, because
God no, yo, pick a Twitter fight with me all you want, whatever. Intergender wrestling is fucking awesome. It's women in intergender matches are not fucking victims. That is the craziest train of thought I've ever heard that people like to say. Every single secret of wrestling is 3 clicks away on Wikipedia. When you go to a wrestling show, you're there to be told a story and suspend your disbelief. So I don't want to hear that it's not realistic either, because neither is a fucking Irish whip. Get over it. You go see Wonder Woman. You pay $15 to see her kick against men, women, aliens, whatever the fuck it may be. I see no difference with it, and some of these old timers, people, they want to, it's just hard for me. It's hard for me to see like a woman take a forearm or punch or whatever. But then again, they're first in line to watch the Avengers movie or something. You know what I mean? It just, I think that's a dead way of thinking, and I personally think it needs to go away. Any guy, girl, non-binary, doesn't matter what you are. If you're in a Blitzkrieg ring, you're equal to everybody else who steps into it, and just kill it and tell the story. Dude, sorry, let me just read one more thing. If I see one more like, woman, I can't hit you, get in the kitchen, like, oh my God, can we stop that, please? Like, just wrestle them because they're a wrestler. Wrestler is not a term or a title based on general. You're a pro wrestler. You're a pro wrestler, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Now, I wanted to speak upon the previous champion being Kirby Wackerman, and now the current champion being Bobby Orlando.
Yeah.
I know when I see Bobby Orlando over at Blitzkrieg specifically, he's a different animal than he is at a few different places. Let me tell you, like, I kind of uplift my Bobby Jr. I love me some Bobby Jr. and Bobby Orlando, but at Blitzkrieg, he's not a nice guy. And Kirby Wackerman, that kid is as nice as they come, and he is, if you want to use the word throwback, because I actually had Mr. Wackerman on the show. And he said during the COVID, he had to lift goats and gallons of milk to keep his physical prowess about him. And that kid is something else. And for Bobby Orlando to do, and not only that, Mr. Bryce Donovan included, might I add, what they did to Mr. Wackerman at that last show, I was not a happy camper as a fan. Just gotta say.
No, nobody was. The story of Kirby Wackerman and the Shook Crew is something we take like great pride in. Absolutely, it's amazing long form storytelling. Shook Crew is just one of the most entertaining acts in all of wrestling, and I truly believe that. And I don't just mean indie wrestling; I mean all of wrestling. Kirby Wackerman is a guy who started in 1,000 scrambles for us and was just showing up, setting up the ring. And the way Kirby Wackerman got so organically over with our crowd, it's something like it was mad. Him trying to join the Shook Crew and become a little bit less of a wimp and more of a cool part of a cool club. And the peaks and valleys everywhere that it's gone, man. I think it's been an amazing ride, and we're not done with it yet. It's still so.
You are definitely still taking us on that ride, because I am pissed off. Let me tell you that Bobby's got that championship back.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Bobby Jr. is along for that ride, but Bobby Orlando, not so much.
We love Bobby Jr. in this house.
Yeah, say a big fan. You know who I don't see often, but I've only
on Peacock.
Yeah. Wasn't that the shit, man? Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, that was so crazy. But somebody that I haven't seen in quite some time, and I've only seen him once, maybe twice, is Bobby Jr. Jr. I miss that little son's a bitch. Have you ever met Bobby Jr. Jr.?
No, I have not.
Are you kidding me? He's so adorable. And he's such a wee little guy. Oh my God. You got to ask Bobby Orlando to bring his little Bobby Jr. Jr. That dude's amazing. I love me some Bobby Jr. Jr. Been a minute though.
Yeah.
I've seen Bobby Jr. dive off of balconies. I've seen Bobby Jr. Get super kicked by HOP. I've seen Bobby, as of recently, Midas Black from the main event is flying. Did you see? He's literally flying on Bobby Jr. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got carried away there. Bobby Jr. gets me going. Whew, just about Mr. Leary. Now, I was talking about the first live event that I went to when I was a kid, really got me into it. You were talking the Attitude Era and such, and then you kind of fell off and then you got back in. I think we all go through that as fans. I think I came in and out probably 4 or 5 times easily, maybe even more. But I feel that fans kind of, they have, again, peaks and valleys in their fandom with wrestling. Sometimes you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And then you're like, oh my God, what am I missing? And then you get back in, you're like, I can't miss nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what it's like at the events, though. And that's my point being is when we miss an event or two, especially the companies that are giving us these storylines and these characters and bringing those elements to the table, which it should be, those elements to the table, and we miss a show or two, we don't feel right, and we got to get to those shows. So I applaud you as a fan for the storytelling and the characters and such. I applaud you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, well, these are the good things about the internet, right? And you know, IWTV, what a godsend. Like, I feel like, respectfully, everybody can do whatever they want with wrestling. I'm totally cool if you're just a person who wants to do your one show for your local company every month or two. But I feel like any promotion that's not getting their stuff like recorded and trying to get it up on IWTV, you're missing out on opening it to, especially when you're doing some long-term storytelling and what have you. And it's such an amazing tool to be able to use. And and even YouTube, it doesn't even have to be IWTV. YouTube is free for everybody. And that's you do for so many companies, and it's why not use it? And yeah,
and especially with a competitive major company coming out of the woodworks to go against the WWE being AEW, trying to be that next big company, and they've been using YouTube basically, quite fluently right along here.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Now, do you you obviously have the IWTV connection now? I don't know the history, and I'm not looking for the history as such. I just have a question. When you guys first started utilizing and getting under that umbrella, if you will, wasn't it called something else, like a bomb or something like that? Powerbomb TV. Yes, that's correct. Powerbomb TV. And boys and girls, if you don't know, I don't know how, but if you don't know what the IWTV is, the Independent Wrestling TV is, just check it out. That's all you got to type up is IWTV. It'll bring you right to their page, and it's $10 a month. And it literally has over 300 promotions that you can pick from. And it's, some of it is not all current, but at least there's options there. If you're a wrestling fan and you want to check out some new stuff, that is a place. I'm definitely telling you, that is a place to go if you want to just spend $10 a month. IWTV. And when it comes to some of the current product, I am talking legit live. You are watching this shit live. When Blitzkrieg comes up and rolling, they're live. When Beyond is rolling, they're live. And there's many, many other companies that you can check out. Not only their vault, but when they go live on said date, when you're seeing these flyers on the social media, and you're like, damn, I wish I could be at X show. Some of these places you can be, basically, if you're doing that.
Even the Restival coming up in Worcester that we're lucky enough to be a part of, that's going to be streaming live. Hung over at 1:00 on a New Year's Day.
I want to talk about something cool that Blitzkrieg did, if you don't mind. And you guys were at a hold on, let me databanks. You were at a Lollapalooza?
Warped Tour.
Yes, Warped Tour. You guys, I was following some of the live videos that you guys were doing. May it be the talent, may it be whatever was going on. I was seeing some of that coming out. I was seeing the footage. You guys look like you were having a criminal amount of fun over there.
Oh my God, an amazing day. We got eyes, so many different eyes, like people just walking along, and we had such a good spot, and there was always a huge crowd, and just I don't know, stuff like. And then when we were done wrestling, we got to have our own cooler of beer where we were changing all the water we needed. And when we were done, I have this like great memory of just like watching Real Big Fish with Skylar and Randy from Limitless and MSP and Logan Black, like from backstage, and like silly stuff like the person who is now Sad CC Boost from like Camp Leapfrog and whatever. He was there, and he dragged Travis and Orange Cassidy to make sure they came and saw 303 with him. And, oh my God, a great moment with and Elmo beating us all up in a battle royal. Orange Cassidy leaving said battle royal and grabbing a strawberryta from a fan. It was, what a good day! What an absolutely good day.
I definitely wanted to bring that up. I would have totally kicked myself in the ass if I did it, because it was such a different. And the reason why I do bring it up is the environment. You're not at a VFW. You're not at an Elks Lodge. You're not at a this. You're at this major music festival, and you get to be part of all of the happenings that are there. And not only that, you get to soak in your fandom with all of these bands and shit throughout the day. So, I mean, you guys just must have had an absolute blast, man.
And speaking candidly, I mean, I grew up playing in bands, and none of us were ever good enough to like land a spot on a Warped Tour, even at the local gig. But the Warped Tour was like one of my first shows ever. So it meant a fucking ton to me to be able to perform on a Warped Tour in any capacity at all, and especially with my own promotion. So
yeah, that's awesome, cool. Man. That is so cool. Excuse me.
Pre-COVID, we were about to it didn't clear up quickly enough, but we were going to be, this would have been so interesting. We were going to bring Blitzkrieg to a 420 festival that had like Be Real from Cypress Hill and like Method and Redman and
wow,
IFA. So that would have been too bad.
That sounds like a party.
Yeah.
Now we've been talking about an hour and 12 minutes, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, because we all know that I can just fucking yammer all night long about wrestling. And we're here to learn about your career, Blitzkrieg, and we've talked so many topics. But what I'd like to do is maybe, is there any way we could have you return maybe and 4, 5, 6 months down the road and have a sequel? Because I mean, I still have so much to ask you. We only kind of tipped your career a little bit, but there was so much to talk about, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. I'd love to.
That is excellent. I love to hear those responses. Now, you as a performer, as an athlete, as a wrestler, where's the end game? Are you looking for the dub? Are you looking for New Japan, or are you looking to do what you're doing? Where are you at as an active wrestler?
My goal has never been like WWE. I'm a weird one. I always have been. My goal was to get to Chikara, which I was fortunate enough to accomplish. My ultimate goal unfortunately won't happen, was to be a part of the King of Trios tournament, but I did get to perform on King of Trios, just not in the tournament. So I'm very happy with that. I do have a couple more things I'd like to see happen. I'd like to, I have no shame in saying it. I've been a long time. I would feel validated to be able to perform on a Beyond show. Yeah. And, there's other ones around that, like, I just like love their vibe, but like, to be honest with you, I love so much what we're doing with Blitzkrieg, and to be able to bring this vision to life. And I'm only interested in taking shows now. Oh, am I good? I got the low battery. All right. I'm only interested in taking shows now that I know I'm gonna have fun at, and or are important to me, like the LVP shows and you know Blitzkrieg. I would love if should PvP ever come back. I mean I don't know how regularly I would do them, but I'd love to see it back. And yeah, trying to think what else. I know there's a couple more. I really want to do a WrestlePalooza, Eric Cannon's first wrestling.
Okay.
That's one that's up there for sure. And I'd love to get to Chicago again with freelance wrestling. But past that, man, I'm happy-ish.
Nice.
I'm as happy as I feel like I can be with wrestling without hating it at the same time. So it's cool. I just want to do fun stuff. I'll always like pop in for a shut up and wrestle here and there when I can help. I'm not looking to. I'd love to be able to wrestle like a 50 cal or Stevie G at those, or
Oh,
Big
wow.
Jimmy or Jim Baker, just because there was a long time where the combine where I was trained, nobody was doing much, and I feel like there's this group of people that are trying to do shit now, and it's amazing, and I love it. And I used to be able to not get anybody to hop in the car and come to Pennsylvania or Maine or wherever with us, and now Big Juicy, Nuka, 50 cal, Stevie G, and I mean Stevie slowed a little bit because he has a kid. Jay Baker, like there's all these new ones too and they're going for it, man, and they seem like they're gonna stick with it, and it's kind of reignited me a little bit, and now we see Ariel Falcone. We don't do a lot of shows together, but he's cool. He's back at the school helping too, feeling like inspired by it, and it's cool. It's really cool.
You named a bunch of all of them I'm very familiar with. But I just want to pull. I mean, we love our Big Juicy to pieces. I mean, that's without even saying. But I want to pull one out. A little Jenga piece being 50 cal. Saw this kid. He's trying to do his thing. He's trying to do his thing. The next time I see this kid, he comes out through the curtain. I'm filming, right? He comes out through the curtain. He's got some fucking red and white blue tights on. He's got a mullet. He's got these fucking pit viper, whatever the fuck you call them. He's got the jean jacket. And I go, what the fuck just happened here? And he's flipping his mullet. And I go, all right, okay, now we've got something. We've got something to bite on now at 50 cal.
Absolutely. He's getting it, man, and I'm happy. Yeah. He's a good dude too. He really is. So
yes, absolutely, man. And you did mention way back, Kid Curry. Love me some Kid Curry. I wish I could see that kid some more. My goodness.
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but he kind of took a little bit of a step away to deal with some personal things. That kid's a natural, though. When he does decide to fully come back, I'm sure he'll do it again.
Absolutely. We've had such a great time talking to Jeremy Leary. Before I do let you go, could you hit us with the medias? Because if the boys and girls that are watching, hopefully it's just not my dad, that would really suck. If there's, we want the boys and girls, if they've never heard of Blitzkrieg, we want to be able to find the medias. So hit us with all of that cool stuff with the YouTubes and the Gram and all of that.
Yeah. Blitzkrieg Pro on IWTV. You can watch it, and we get a little kickback from it, which is also awesome. And if you sign up using the word Blitzkrieg, we will get a little kickback from that. So that helps support. Leary in with the Out Crowd and Leary Out Crowd on the Twitter and Instagram. Blitzkrieg Pro is, you just type it in, you'll find it. And yeah, just I would love for more local regular wrestling fans to come out and give Blitzkrieg a chance. And if we're not your flavor, I totally get it. We're fucking weird. I do understand that. We like to do things a certain way, and it might not be for everybody, and that's fine. But I will humbly say that I will put the vibe in the room at a Blitzkrieg show against any. And I almost mean in the country. The vibe in there is just amazing. So check it out.
Let's see. Something happened over here.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Let's see. I think we got you back. All right. Do I got you there?
Yeah, it never left me.
All right. Sorry, something happened to my sound. Everything just kind of went a little wonky. I couldn't hear shit. Right. I am so sorry for that. Right. Technical difficulties. I'm a one-man band. It is what it is. But before I do let you go, hey, Big Jacob P. Before I let you go,
my fucking man, where's he at?
I know it's almost bedtime, so I wanted to get him before he hit the sack. So let me get him
real
quick. Yeah, Jacob. 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 Come here. Come here. He's coming down now. Now I have an earpiece in, so he's not going to hear you, but we'll take care of business here, all right?
All right.
Can I use one of your earbuds?
Hey, get over here.
Can I use that one? Your left.
All right, we'll do that. How about that? Look, he's smarter than I am, Mr. Leary. Here, turn that sucker on. He's going to use the left, and I'm going to use the right earbud. All right, is it on?
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
What's up?
What's up? You weren't sleeping, were you? No. All right. So I'll keep Don here for like 10 more minutes. Go get yourself nice and sugar high. Eat some brownies and cake, and start running rampant.
That's not what this phone call was supposed to be about.
What happens?
My man's been feeling under the weather, but I think he's at the tail end of his sickness he's got going on. But he's smiling again, and he's sounding not the greatest, but he's sounding better. So I heard a little knock at the door, so I figured it was him.
Yeah. Let me hear how bad you sound. Sing for me.
Ah!
Oh wow.
So great, man. Let's get you a record contract, man.
How about you?
You want me to do it? Yeah. Right?
I like how you go to like the Judas Priest like.
We've been hanging out talking to Mr. Leary for, look at that, an hour and 22 minutes. He didn't hang up after the first 20 minutes. Holy cow. So we've been hanging out talking to Mr. Leary. Would you like to close out the show with me? That's a no? You don't want to end it with me? I'll do the outro. How about that? And you just sit there and look pretty. You want to do that? Oh my goodness, he is not a natural. Let me tell you.
Jake,
yeah.
We need a screenshot for the YouTube. So could you give me one of these?
Oh wow!
Just kidding. I'm sorry.
Oh, that face.
How about one of these?
There you go. We could do that. He's currently in some kind of jail time for some profane stuff. He's kind of blurted out here or there.
So that was the worst thing I could have asked.
That was absolutely perfect. Oh, dude. Oh wow. Yeah, my man. He's been trying. He's been really trying to feel a little bit better. Mr. Leary, we've had such a fine time, and I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with us on Stirring the Pot, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
With all of that said, and with Big Jacob P and Jeremy Leary, this is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Jeremy Leary.
Shield, burn it.